All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, in today's video, we are going to be talking about the UK's Online Safety Act. Yes, we're going to talk about it again because apparently there have been some articles that have been coming out this month that have not only been fighting against it, but also calling out the absolute hypocrisy over the fact that these online safety acts don't do a damn thing. They don't actually prevent children from finding bad content. They don't prevent children from consuming bad content. If anything, there are articles and conversations out there that actually say the opposite. There's an article here right now from The Guardian saying that children's exposure to bad stuff is actually higher than before the 2023 Online Safety Act, according to a recent poll. So, we're going to go over all of this and talk about just how effective the online safety acts actually are. Do they do anything? Every time they try to enact an online safety act, does it actually do anything? Of course not. All it does is allow them to have more power and control over the populace, which they really want to control the adults. That's really what it's about. So let's talk about the Online Safety Act and kind of compare it over everything. So young people should be able to access information, speak to each other and to the world, play games, and express themselves online without the government making decisions about what speech is permissible. But in one of the latest misguided attempts to protect children online, internet users of all ages in the UK are being forced to prove their age before they can access millions of websites under the country's Online Safety Act. The legislation attempts to make the UK supposedly the safest place in the world. And again, anytime the government, I want to be very clear, anytime the government comes to you and says, I am the government and I'm here to help, those are the scariest words anybody can probably hear in their life because the government is never here to help you. It's never about help. They never want to come to help you. They don't care about you, man. They don't care about the average Joe. They don't really care to help you in the slightest. They only want to control you, manipulate you, and utilize you to bolster whatever it is they need to bolster. And that's it. But in any case, apparently the UK will be the safest place in the world from those scary anime titties in the world online by placing a duty of care on online platforms to protect their users from supposed harmful content. Keep in mind, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go over exactly what that harmful content is. Some of the stuff that's on this list that's considered harmful content has absolutely nothing to do with young kids, has absolutely nothing to do with protecting them whatsoever, but they put it on there anyway because, again, they got to sneak it in, right? They got to sneak it as much as they possibly can to try to make this as far as they can make it go. It mandates that any site accessible in the UK, including social media, search engines, music sites, and adult content providers, enforce age checks to prevent children from seeing harmful content. This is defined in three categories, and failure to comply could result in fines of up to 10% of global revenue or courts blocking services. Now, I think it's hilarious that they are willing to fine these companies. Think about it, right? Think about it. They are trying to say that this content's harmful. They're trying to say that they want to protect children. They're trying to say that all this is about is ensuring that harmful content does not get in front of the eyes of kids. Well, there is one way and one way only to ensure that it doesn't happen. Ban the service from your country, right? I feel like that's obvious. Ban the service from your country. If it really offends you that much, ban the service. The fact that you have an option for these companies to pay a fine instead of getting their services banned from all this supposed harmful content, I think that's hilarious. You are essentially saying that as a government, you are willing to turn a blind eye to the service not doing what it's supposed to do as long as they pay you. It's crazy stuff. But again, what do I know, right? Anyway, so they're willing to take 10% of global revenue or potentially block your service altogether. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what is the harmful content, right? What is the harmful content? Is it just, gooner stuff? Is that what it is? Well, no, it's actually a lot of stuff that most kids don't even partake in. Primary priority content number one that is harmful for children. Obviously, X-rated stuff, content which encourages, promotes, or provides instructions for offing yourself, harming yourself, or having an eating disorder or behaviors associated with an eating disorder. That is primary priority content, according to the UK Online Safety Act. Now, what is priority content? Well, that is content that is abusive on the basis of race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, disability, or gender reassignment. Where the hell did that come from? Right? So, again, even this first one right here, what the hell does this have to do with children? This is political ideology, right? This is literally political ideology. You're saying, so what? No racism. You can't go against anything based on religion, sex, or sexual orientation. Weren't you guys trying to stop them from viewing that? What the fuck does sex and sexual orientation have to do with anything? I thought you were trying to stop them from viewing all that stuff. Disability or gender reassignment. So gender reassignment, like we were talking about trans people. So anything that's considered negative or critical of trans ideology, well, that's harmful to children. What the fuck? This has nothing to do with children. It never has and it never will, right? This has everything to do with control and the ability to dictate what adults can and cannot say. That's what this is about. Again, they're trying to say this is harmful for children. Bro, what child is partaking in any of this? In any case, content that incites hatred against people on the basis of race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, disability, or gender assignment. Again, who decides what is considered hate speech or not? Who decides that? The government? Why am I not surprised? Content that encourages, promotes, or provides instructions for serious violence against a person. I guess that's not bad. Bullying content. Oh, okay. So you can't even learn about bullies anymore. That's interesting. Content which depicts serious violence against or graphically depicts serious injury to a person or animal, whether real or fictional. Content that encourages, promotes, or provides instructions for stunts and challenges that are highly likely to result in serious injury. So wait. So hold on. So what about content like skateboarding? What about like the X Games? Do they still do the X Games? What about BMX? Like, so you mean to tell me all this stuff, that kind of content, kids can't even see that anymore? What do you want kids to even do? Do you want to just like sit in a corner? What do you want them to do? Anyway, content that encourages the self-administration of harmful substances. Okay. Now, what is this? This is part three: non-designated content that is supposedly harmful to children. Content is non designated content if it presents a material risk of significant harm to an appreciable number of children in the UK, provided that the risk of harm does not flow from any of the following: the content's potential financial impact, the safety or quality of goods featured in the content, or the way in which a service featured in the content may be performed. Online service providers must make a judgment call about whether the content they host is harmful to children, and if so, address the risk by implementing a number of measures, which includes, but is not limited to, and here's where it gets really, really good, boys: robust age checks. Services must use highly effective age assurance, but highly effective. Hold on, timeout. I need to take. I need a moment to pause in this video. Wait a second. Highly effective? You mean the same technology that got beaten by the photo mode in Death Stranding? You mean the same technology that got beaten by fucking Gary's mod? That's highly effective to you? Are you out of your fucking mind? Bro, these people use these words that they try to make it sound like it's the same thing that happened with the vaccine, right? Where they were like, oh, it's highly effective, highly effective. It went from 99% highly effective to like 42% a year later. Highly effective. Don't worry, it's highly effective. It's so insane, highly effective. Anyway, if services have minimum age requirements and are not using highly effective age assurance to prevent children under that age using the service, they should assume that the younger children are on their service and take appropriate steps to protect them from harm. To do this, all users on sites that host this content must verify their age. For example, by uploading a form of ID like a passport, taking a face selfie or video to facilitate age assurance through third-party services, or giving permission for the age check service to access information from your bank about whether you are over 18. Bro, they want to get permission for age check services from your bank account. This is unbelievable. And they're utilizing third party services so that if things go bad, if something gets hacked, if somebody's information gets stolen, the government can essentially wipe their hands with it and say, well, I got nothing to do with it. The third party service is the one that took all your information. You have to go to them and complain. This is so fucking ridiculous, bro. It really is. Here's another great part right here: safer algorithms. We all know what that means. And like I said in my last video, and I'm going to say it again, what they want to do is they want to recreate what Twitter was 5 years ago. That's what they want. They want to create a utopia where whatever it is they want to push is what they're going to push, and everything else gets shadow banned. Everything else gets permabanned. Everything else gets deleted. That is what they want. They want a perfect utopia of government controlled propaganda, because that was literally what fucking Twitter was 5 years ago. If you even sneezed remotely away from the center in the other side of the right direction, right, left or right, if you went right even slightly, you were immediately, it was like the eye of Sauron went after you on Twitter, and you were shadow banned to the fucking moon, right? You were thrown in Mount Doom with Gollum, and there was no coming back. That's basically what would happen. And that's what they're trying to rebuild here with these online safety acts. It's exactly what they want. When they say safer algorithms, they mean algorithms that are in their favor always, right? That's what they want. But in any case, services will be expected to configure their algorithms to ensure children are not presented with the most harmful content and take appropriate action to protect them from other harmful content. And of course, effective moderation. All services must have content moderation systems in place to take swift action against content that is harmful to children when they become aware of it. Since these measures took effect in late July, social media platforms Reddit, Blue Sky, Discord, and X all introduced age checks to block children from seeing harmful content on their sites. X websites like Pornhub and YouPorn implemented age assurance checks on their websites, now asking users to either upload government issued ID, provide an email address for technology to analyze other services where it has been used, or submit their information to a third party vendor for age verification. Bro, I swear to God, imagine the pictures they get sent to Pornhub and YouPorn. Can you imagine? Can anybody think about that? Imagine the pictures that are getting sent to them. Think about think about the idea behind that. So let's say you're about to get ready to goon, right? You're just pants down, ready to goon. You know, it's in your hand and you're ready to go at it, right? And then right before you could go at it, the website says, "Hold up, you got to upload a selfie of yourself." I swear to God, I would upload the fucking dirtiest selfie. I'd be like, "All right, you really want a selfie right now? You want a selfie at this point in time? I got you, homie. I got you right now. I'm gonna send you a real good selfie, bro." This is the dumbest shit that I've ever heard in my life. Anyway, so sites like Spotify are also requiring users to submit face scans to third-party digital identity company Yoti to access content labeled 18 plus. Ofcom, which oversees implementation of the OSA, went further by sending letters to try to enforce the UK legislation on US-based companies, such as the supposed right-wing platform Gab. Well, again, we talked about that before and how they tried to go after 4chan as well. And 4chan basically said, "Go fuck yourselves. Like, we don't care about your fines. We don't care about any of that. And we've already lawyered up. So good luck with that." This whole thing is an absolute joke. And the reason why is because, quite frankly, it has been proven through multiple different polls and even studies that these, online safety acts, they don't do a damn thing, right? The Online Safety Act from 2023 has proven to be completely ineffective because children have apparently been exposed to X-rated content higher than even before the 2023 Online Safety Act. Children's Commissioner for England says findings show little had improved despite a new law and tech firm promises. So, what was that exactly about highly effective? How exactly are you highly effective when kids are viewing X rated content at a higher point than they ever were before you introduced your supposed highly effective technology? It's very clear that your technology isn't exactly highly effective. Exposure to pornography has increased since the introduction of UK rules to protect the public online, with children as young as, oh, that's crazy, bro. Children as young as 6 seeing it by accident. Research by Children's Commissioner for England has found. Dame Rachel D'Souza said a survey found more young people said that they had been exposed to this stuff before the age of 18 than in 2023 when the Online Safety Act became law. Now more than a quarter now have said that they've seen porn online by age 11, with some saying they were age 6 or younger when asked about their first exposure. So all this talk about being highly effective, all this talk about being able to protect the children, you guys haven't been able to do a fucking thing. And it's very clear that whatever your strategies are, they don't work. They've never worked. And all it was for control. What does any of this have to do with kids? is beyond me, right? If you're talking about some of this early stuff, fine, no problem. X-rated content, we can always talk about that. But when you're talking about, oh, well, you can't be bigoted. You can't tell trans people that the ideology is a little bit questionable, right? You can't talk about how LGBTQ sexual orientation might be a little bit annoying when it comes to the activists anyway. You can't talk about any of that, right? You can't talk about, racial stereotypes, none of that stuff. You can't talk about any of that stuff because apparently that's harmful content and it needs to be censored. So anyway, you guys can let me know in the comments down below of this video. What do you think about all this stuff? What do you think about this list regarding what's considered harmful content? And the hilarious thing is it's so vague. A lot of it's so vague that they could just add to it, right? What if one day they decide that, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto and video games or video games in general? What if video games are considered harmful? Right? What if they want to say video games are considered harmful and that some random study has discovered that video games lead to violence and thus we need to classify it as harmful? What happens then? I'm just saying, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one.